Hey, thanks for joining today. I'm over at the Cemex Cement plant on the Cajon Sub here in Run 8, and there's a Union Pacific train, loaded coal train that is on the loop track, and I got to take the power off. We got to pick up the empties that are over in the empty staging area, and then I need to move some of the loaded coal over to the coal unloader. So that's what we'll be doing today. So while these engines get warmed up, let's go over here and make sure all the switches are aligned correctly so I can go over and couple to the rear DPUs here. You know what? Actually, I need to close both because if I leave that one open and dump the air, it's going to mess things up on the other side because it's still connected to the locomotives over there. I got a little bit too much force on the coupler, so I got to push back here. There we go. And now I can uncouple and then grab the other ones. I've got my world save for this mission in my Google Drive, so if you want to play this one, all you got to do is just download the file and throw it into your SoCal Trains folder, and you can try out this job. Over on the right there, you can see a whole bunch of empty cement hoppers waiting to be loaded, and then next to those here are a bunch of empty coal hoppers that have already been unloaded, and those need to go back up to the mine to be loaded again. And this train, this loaded coal train, came down from Utah from the Skyline Mine. These tracks off here to the right continue all the way up to the quarry, and I looked online and it's the Black Mountain Quarry, and it's actually a private railroad that goes from the plant up to the quarry called the Mojave Northern Railroad, and it's owned by Cemex. I think since I've owned Run 8, I've only made a trip up to the quarry once, and I'm not sure if I came back down or not. But I really got to try it again here soon because it's, I think, the steepest grade in Run 8. I think it's over 3%, maybe even 4% at one point. But I remember really struggling a lot more than I expected to get up there. All right, let's hop out here and see if we can get these two connected. Connect the MU cable. And now I can leave the angle cock here on the right open because now I want these cars to dump the air. All right, now I can head over to the yard and pick up all those empty auto flood coal hoppers. All right, I think I'll stop it right here, and then I'm going to pull off the 2 on the back. So I'll put 3 on the front and then 2 on the rear. Uh-oh. You know what I just realized? Whoever sent this train down from Utah put all 5 units facing the same direction. And I don't think I've got a Y anywhere over here where I can turn at least one of these around to go back. That's the path going up to the quarry. I'm not going to be able to turn one around. And I can't send this train with an AI recrew backwards. It won't work. What do I do here? Yeah, I don't think I really have any other options. I think I'm going to have to pull out an old school railroading trick here to fix this problem. Basically, all you do is you make sure you got your train selected, hit Control F1, and then hit Copy Player Train there in the Train Maker upper. So you got it in there. Then you can delete the train, and then just place, I right-click just one of them to turn it around. Now I can place it, and now I've got one facing the correct way. So that's something that was started back, I think, in the late 1800s. They started doing that when they ran into this kind of problem. And speaking of the late 1800s, I just finished reading the book Nothing Like It in the World by Stephen E. Ambrose about building the railroad from the East Coast to the West Coast in the 1860s. And it was actually a really good book. I really enjoyed it, a lot more than I was even expecting. All right, now I can go and pick up the empties, and then once I pull the empties out all the way, then I'll reconnect those 2 on the rear of the train before I send it back up to Yermo. But looking at this right now, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to clear the switch that I need to clear up ahead, but also not go through that red signal. Let's see if I'm going to be able to clear this. Oh yeah, we got it. We actually got plenty of room. I always forget this yard is definitely not flat, but I always forget which angle it goes. I think this is uphill this direction. Yeah, it looks like a .2. Thought it was a little bit steeper at some point. Yeah, now it's starting to pick up the grade at the top. I could see .3. Oh yeah, I gotta just do the F7 here because all these are unlaced. Alright, I need to check the dispatch screen because I'm gonna have to get out onto the main line. I gotta pull forward enough. But it looks like we got a stack train that should be coming by here any moment. But I can still pull up at least to the signal while we're waiting for that train to pass. Oh, there he is right here. let's check the map again and see what we got. Oh, I can't change it yet because he's got to clear that last block, but I don't think it's too far. I think the light's right up there. There we go. Now he's clear. And I got to flip this quick before Otto gives that other train, that Z train that's coming through here. I don't want him getting in my way. Obviously, what we're doing here is way more important than a Z train, so I got to jump ahead. All right, now I can set the lead. I forgot, I think X is the UP's empty grain code as well, or unless that's BNSF, I forgot. And then I'll do Victorville to YR for Yermo. And he'll just go off the map at Yermo, that's fine. Oh, but I can't forget I still got to hook up those 2 DPUs once he pulls up far enough. And there we go. Now I can bring it to a stop, and then I can connect the other two units. Now I'll just jump to the front, do an AI recrew, and then we'll be able to move on to the next task, which is bringing some loaded coal over to be unloaded. Let's go back to our SD40-2s. We'll get these fired up and start heading over to pick up 5 coal cars. Now, if I turn on the industry tags, you can see how I set this industry up, kind of like I showed in Foster Farm. So I'm testing this out for the first time. So I've got these 2 tracks here on the right are for coal empties. You can see here there's the coal unload track section. And then on the left here is the cement unload, cement load. And then once they're loaded, the cement loaded cars will go down just at the end. So I just need to grab, I got to make sure I got the track, make sure these switches are the right way to get to this coal unloader. All right, now I can get into the coal loop and then grab some coal cars. All right, we got that switch. We'll back up towards the light. Oh, this is going to be another scenario where I might not have enough room to clear the switch I need to clear and not go through that red. So we're going to find out. And then let me just make sure that I got these switches up here the way I want them. And it looks like I got to do that one. And now we should be good. All right, we just cleared. Let's see how we're looking on this red signal behind. Did we go through it? Oh, no, we got a few feet. We're good there. I think I see that Q train coming up here on the right. All right, now I can just pull into the unloader and we'll start unloading these cars. All right, now I can empty this one out. There it goes. And now we got 4 more to go. Now that this load's getting real light, I think I'll isolate this one unit, because otherwise it's too much power every time I have to move it forward. And here's the last one. Let's empty it out. And that should do it. Now I'm going to move these over to the empty staging lanes. It looks like I got another train that must have spawned over a switch. I think it's the same one. I got to just take that one out of the AI spawn menu. I'll probably delete that spawn point. I don't need that in there coming out of the Barstow yard. But if you want to turn off, if you keep getting the messages like that, or you just want to turn off any messages while you're playing, you can just hold Control and hit Tab, and that'll turn them off. Now I can set some handbrakes, and then since I actually manually did the unloading, I'm just going to have to change the tags on these to coal empties. Since I didn't actually leave them on the industry tracks for Run 8 to do it, I'll just do it myself. And then I'll just make sure that I got them on the... Oh, wait a minute. I was supposed to leave them back here before that crossover. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I kind of set up a system and I didn't even follow my own system. So I think that's it. I'm just going to pull these up to the right spot, drop them off, and then shut down this locomotive. So I hope you enjoyed this quick operating session at the Cemex Cement plant in Victorville, California, on the Cajon subdivision, and thanks for watching.